Welcome back to Bowers Creations. Glad to have you here. We're going to work on some projects today. Hopefully create some motivation for you, get you out to your shop working on stuff. It's been a few days since I released a video, 10 in fact as of today. And this video will probably have 2 or 3 more days before it goes out to the worldwide YouTube. For that I apologize. I've been working a lot and I've been running into a lot of hiccups. I started all last weekend. I woke up ready to work on a video and lost the receiver to my microphone. I could understand losing a microphone, but the receiver, I don't. It stays plugged into the camera. It don't get wore around the property or anything like that. And it was just gone. I spent a whole day looking for that thing. All I could assume is I wadded up some trash and threw it away. But I should have another one coming today. Keep an eye out for it. We'll play a game. First one to comment when they seen it wins, I guess. I ain't got nothing to give away, so you'll just be the winner. So the next thing that went awry is we spent all week, we're working on some homemade magnetic socket rails. I had them just about finished up, painted up, had 1 or 2 more steps to go, and I had some old silicone that didn't cure. It messed up the paint, made a huge mess, maybe a little bit of a temper issue. Well, now I need some more lumber. We got to catch this project back up to the video so we could resume it. But I couldn't go to the lumber yard yesterday. They were out of power, much like a large portion of New Mexico, all the Texas Panhandle, and large portions of Oklahoma. We got hit by a horrible windstorm yesterday. Massive winds, wrecks, power outages, wildfires. It was nasty. And this storm's moved off in Missouri and Arkansas. It caused tornadoes, a lot of damage there. There's been fatalities here in Texas, Missouri. Definitely keep these people in your thoughts and prayers. If you came out unscathed in this, try to get out, lend a helping hand. That's what I'm about to do. I got to go help a friend of mine. His tree fell through his fence. It knocked out his neighbor's power. We're going to go try to restore his neighbor's power here in a minute. We worked on his fence all day yesterday. But go help someone out. Try to get them going again. If they had some loss or some damage, just give them a lending hand. They could use it. So we're just going to string together a whole bunch of projects today. Maybe this could be kind of a motivational video. Maybe you'll find a project to work on. And the first thing we got to do is experiment some with our lightsaber puzzle project. This will be a video coming out soon. But we got to get our little assembly glued down here, so we can pour some epoxy in it later. So we're going to get that glue drying, and then we're going to build an emergency toolkit, because all my electrical tools are in my work truck an hour and a half away from here. I'm not going to drive up there to get them, so we'll put together what we can and make the best of it. Definitely gonna need some screwdrivers. Gonna need some channel locks, some drill bits, some hole saws, electrical part bin 1, electrical part bin 2, porta band, extra battery, a drill. Wouldn't hurt to have a square. Definitely gonna want an electric meter. Gonna need some Allens, razor knife, an assortment of drill bits and nut drivers, a few bags to carry it in. So we got a little more organized now. We're gonna go see if we can knock this out, get back, work on some of our own projects. So we made it back, spent about 6 hours helping a friend out today, got his electric going again to his house, and I hope we made him happy. Hopefully we was able to be a blessing. And now we got to get back on our projects. First one is we got to finish this experiment up. We not only want to see if it'll hold epoxy and if the lights will keep working and how bright the lights are, but my epoxy is about a year old, so I want to see how clear it is. Now off camera, I centered the assembly on our board. That way we could cover it with a dish, because this epoxy does take about 3 days to dry, and we don't want garbage getting in it. So let's pour some epoxy. This is a 3-part epoxy, so I need 3 measuring cups, so we could get 2 parts and 1 part. Now, if this was a high-end table or something that had a lot of money invested in it, I'd go get some measuring cups. But for what we're doing, this will be just fine. Google set my timer for 6 minutes. Well, we've mixed our epoxy for 6 minutes now. And let's see what happens. Alright, so we got a whole bunch of bubbles, but the heat gun will take care of that. We're going to let it sit and pop on its own for a few minutes. Well, it's pretty cloudy. It's not very clear. We're hoping that it'll clear up some. We're going to keep working it for an hour or so, and then we'll move it inside and move on to other projects. All right, so I guess we need to do something with this flimsy son of a gun. It's pretty flimsy. It's pretty ugly. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, but I got to get all this junk off my table saw. I'm getting tired of it. And if we're going to do the lightsaber project, I'm going to need that whole table. So how we're going to get started is I couldn't go to the lumber yard. We done discussed that. So I'm going to have to use some dimensional lumber and make a face frame for this thing. I'm not going to worry about milling all the mill marks out like we did in our cabinet build video. But I'm going to use a table saw, get us some 2-inch, build us a face frame, and then we got to find something to put on for a back. So running this material through the table saw brings up something I wanted to address. I had a comment during our cabinet build video that I really should use a push stick. Well, I do use a push stick when necessary. I'm pretty comfortable running anything down to about 1.25 inches wide. And how I do that, this is not a training video. This is not how you should do something. I'm just telling you how I do it. Is I got a nice lip on my fence here. And when I run material through, I kind of lock my fingers onto that fence. That way, if there's a kick or a bind, my hand don't come off the fence. And I'm pretty comfortable doing that. I've ran tens of thousands of feet through a table saw, and that's just what I've grown accustomed to. Now, once I get down below about 1.25 inches, I do have a push stick. Now, one thing I am going to say is I don't like those push sticks that push down on just this back edge. They're real tall, and all they do is grab this back edge of your material. Get you a push stick that puts a lot of downward force. If mine's about 1 foot long, it puts a lot of downward force. It'll keep that material from climbing the blade and kicking back at you. But now that I've ripped all this down to 2-inch, I'm going to turn it up on end. I'm going to use the table saw, and I'm going to rip it down to about 7/8. All right, so for my face frame, it looks like I need 2 40-inch stiles, and then the face frame needs to be 49.5 wide overall. So that'll give me 2 47.5-inch rails. Now I am going to build it just a skosh bigger since it's finish to finish basically. And that way I have a little room for flush cutting to make our face frame just a little bit nicer. I actually hate stacking battery operated tools like this. I don't know why I've done that. But if you notice, it's a lot easier to knock a tool over, especially if it's sitting up high where it could fall on the floor. So my recommendation, always set your tools down like that. Don't be an idiot like me. What in the world? You know what I did? Said the face frame needed to be 49.5, and I only took off 2 inches, which would be one style. I need to take off 4 inches. So let me cut this down. We'll move on. All right. That's much better. You know, one of my favorite YouTubers, he always says, we do it nice because we do it twice. There you go. Let's glue this on, get her sanded up, and we'll be done with this part of it. All right, we're going to have to take a break for a minute because my beautiful wife just made me biscuits and gravy. Who could go wrong with that? So my 2 shelves without the face frame are pretty bowed from all the years of weight and no support. So I got this little 2-inch by 1/2 inch piece. I think I'm going to rip it down to about, I don't know, 7/8 again. So we'll have 7/8 wide, 1/2 inch deep. A nail on there, see if we can straighten these shelves out a little bit. Now this is what they call getting into your work. I don't think this is helping too much. I think the pine's bowing more than the particle board. Well, it is what it is. So I'm going to do some belt sanding. I said I was going to flush cut each end, but really I think I'm just going to kind of beat it around with the belt sander, and then we got to get it back on it. So I didn't have anything to sacrifice to put a full back on here. I was actually just going to piece one together, but it's too long and I could only get one piece per rip, and it's just going to waste too much material on the 1/4 inch. I didn't want to get rid of it. But what I did have is some particle board, and I cut some scrap particle board and cut me some 3.5 inch strips. And I think I'm just going to nail them on like this. That'll keep stuff from falling off the back of the shelf and be a lot more useful than sitting over there against the wall. All right, that thing's stout as nails now. Still ugly as could be, but it's going to work perfect for what we need. Cool. All right, now I guess I got to drag this rack out in the middle of the floor. Hopefully I don't kill myself. Not too bad. All right, so I'm going to pre-drill some holes through my nailers. And then I got some 2-inch self-tappers. I want to just self-tap it to the tubing. Hopefully that'll hold up. If not, hopefully I'm not there to see it go boom. Let's see if I can stand her back up. Golly. That wasn't that heavy. Oh, my word. That went from holy smokes. So we got it loaded down, got the table saw cleaned off. Now we just got to get it over to the Connex where it'll live the rest of its days. Free up some room in the garage. Now check this out. Got the table saw nearly cleaned off. There's a few little things I need to find a home for. Found a perfect stash spot for the Jeep toolbox that has all the bolts and nuts and miscellaneous parts. Want to keep that around here. And I'm hoping to get to this thing in this video here shortly. But today, it's a beautiful day. I need to spray some weeds at my yard, my neighbor's yard, and I need to do some maintenance on my Tahoe. That way I can get ready for work next week. So stay tuned. I'll check back in with you and tell you what all I get done this weekend. Goodness gracious, I'm starting to get wore out today. Amongst everything else I've done, I had to go spray my neighbor's yard with weed poison. And then my other neighbor called. She lost a bolt to her porch swing, so I had to go fix that. And then I ended up spraying her yard with weed poison. Fortunately, my wife, she sprayed our yard, took care of that, so I didn't have to do that. And now I just got done. I changed the oil in my Tahoe, rotated the tires, topped off all the fluids, and all I got left is this mess. Thank God I'm a woodworker. Some sawdust will take care of that oil on the floor. But what I wanted to show you is how I clean my oil pan with just 2 paper towels. I like to get it cleaned up spotless so it's not laying around catching dust. You could use it for other things and don't have the mess whenever you need it. So I'm going to set up the tripod and I'll show you how I do that now. So what I like to do is I'll take a little bit of sawdust. It doesn't take much. Sprinkle it in there. We'll go ahead and sprinkle it on this stuff too. Get it started cleaning up. And the first paper towel, I'll take it and a stick, and I'll sit there and I'll just stir that sawdust around. Usually you could do that with the stick, but this works even a little bit better. Kind of gives you a sponge end, and shoot, I may have lied. This may only take 1 paper towel. Usually I have a dirty paper towel when I'm doing this, so that's why I said 2. But I stir that around real good, just like that. Get it cleaned up. Once I think I have it all soaked up real good, I'm gonna go dump this in the trash can. Then using that same paper towel, I just wipe it out clean now. It usually comes out pretty spotless. Works every time. And then you don't have your oil catch pan sitting around with residue in it, being all nasty. And they'll be ready to go next time. How's that? It's pretty decent. 1 paper towel. And I could even use that paper towel to clean up the rest of this mess now. All right, it's a new day today. We're still waiting on epoxy to dry. So our next project that we've been needing to get off our backs is getting this thing mounted. So I'm gonna get me some measurements. Of course, we got to start tearing out the old miter saw over here. Get it all tore apart, lower our platform. We've done this once before on the channel when we set up the miter saw. So kind of reverse order of that. And then we'll move the fence and get it all set up. Hopefully we could try this thing out later today. Well, this is a pleasant surprise. We pulled that out of here and exposed this line here, and you can see where it used to sit. That's where my old radial arm saw used to sit. I double checked. So all we got to do is put it right back where it used to be, and we'll be golden. Now, since I'm not as strong as I used to be and can't hold it up there, I think I'm going to mount me something right above it so I can push up to it, screw it in. We should be good to go. All right, had to fight with it a little bit, but we got her on there. Let's see if I could get that radial arm saw moved over here now. Oh, great. I knew that was going to happen. I done took measurements. Looks like I got to clean out the DeWalt rack, move it up, and of course I got to move all the saw blades. Such is life. All right, so I got the DeWalt rack moved up, moved all the saw blades. Now I need to find out the center of the saw and how I'm going to do this. Wait, check this out. I actually happen to have a top that fits right in here. It'll show me right where the blade needs to be and cover up this nasty hole we've been looking at for months now. So like I said, we're off today because of the wind, and I was finally able to make it to the lumberyard. Check this out. So I got about 22 foot of poplar and one about 6-inch wide piece of red oak, 10 foot long. Now I had some plans for this red oak, but after seeing how expensive it is, I may have to sit on it for another project in the future and just go ahead and build everything out of this poplar. But like I said, we was sent home, or not sent home, we was told to stay home because of the weather. And check this out. It's absolutely beautiful out here. To get this calm of weather in the panhandle of Texas is unreal. Look at that tree. It's not moving and barely at all. I'll even take my microphone. No wind whatsoever. So I think we're going to put the radial arm saw on hold. I need to mow my yard, do some outside work for my place and the neighbors. And maybe later on when the wind picks up, we'll pick up on our video. So I've done a little bit of work off of camera, but we got the saw bolted in place, got the countertop put back in, and now I just got to relocate my fence. And what you got to watch out for on these radial arm saws is, depending on where your fence is as far as in and out, is how thick of a material you could cut. I want to be able to cut 1.5 inches, and what you really need to look out for is, as of right now, I wouldn't be able to cut anything. I would slide a piece of wood up here, no matter how thick it was, even if it was an 1/8 inch, and the blade would catch, and it'd send this thing hurling out at me, and I don't want that. So I want to be able to slide a piece of 1.5 inches up here with the blade running and it not catch. So what I done is I took this piece of wood and I put me a little mark on it. I should be able to cut this piece of wood down to width and then come over here and with my pencil slide it along the fence, and that'll give me a good reference line on where I need to put my fence. I'm starting to get excited now. I've been wanting to get this fence going for several weeks now, and once I get this line drawn, I'll probably move the fence off camera. You don't want to see me drill a bunch of holes and move the fence forward. If you do want to see how I done it, I got a video, my DIY miter saw fence build. There's actually a 2-part series and then a follow-up video, so make sure you go check that out. But once I get the fence moved, we'll check out the saw, see how it works, and then I got to show you the wind outside. It's going crazy now. I got the fence mounted. It went pretty well, and all we got left is to see how it works. It's been almost a year since I've had a radial arm saw, but we almost have this one going now. Of course, I'll have to build a fence for the right-hand side over here. Nothing fancy like this one here, just something to support the wood. And then I'm waiting on my new adhesive tape to stick onto this fence so the stop works good. And then we'll have to square it all up, make sure it's true. But check this out. The wind's blowing 35 miles an hour with some heavy gusts. I'm going to step out here so you can see it again. Check out how brown the sky is, and we'll hold the mic up in the air so you could hear it. Now, just know I'm surrounded by a house and a garage and 7-foot fences. So imagine what it's like out in the middle of a pasture or something like that. But as you can tell, wind's blowing like crazy. You can see the trees going. Pretty miserable here sometimes. Yeah, it's just plain nasty out there. Anyways, we've been waiting 72 hours for some epoxy to dry. We've knocked out a whole bunch of projects. Thank you for hanging out with me while we done this. Hopefully I motivated you. Go tackle some of your projects. But let's check out this epoxy project. So it's just not near bright enough for me. I was wanting it to be a lot brighter. Even with the lights out, let me show you that. I was wanting lightsaber bright. That's just the way it goes sometimes. Thank God we experimented. I would have been really upset if we built the whole project and then got that kind of results. But at least now I could go out, try some other lights, see if we could get a little bit brighter. In the meantime, thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, and we'll catch you in the next one.